welcome to Speaking Out. I know originally we were called Speaking Out with Kim and Brian, but we decided to just cut out the Kim and Brian, and now we're Speaking Out. This will be season 3. We were canceled for well over about 2 years and came up with $5, and here we are again. So $5 pays for the whole season. So today we are going to talk about sexual harassment in the workplace and kind of go from there.
Yeah, so sexual harassment in the workplace is not a very, what's the word I'm looking for?
Likeable thing.
Well, not only likable, but it's a really delicate subject. First of all, what's defined as sexual harassment is any unwanted
Comments, gestures,
jokes,
yeah.
and advances. And we've got some tips to, one, how to handle it, address it, and recognize it.
Mm-hmm.
And we both had and witnessed experiences with sexual harassment, and what have been your experiences?
Well, a lot of it is mainly companies not pushing the issue like they should, or at least giving, the pursuer a reasonable amount, well, not reasonable, I guess you could say, but a firm, hey, you can't do this. It's, wrong. You're bothering somebody, leave them alone, or else you can lose your job, or they can press charges, and at the same time that affects the company as well. If it goes on.
Yeah. Me being a woman, dealing with sexual harassment in the workplace, one is uncomfortable because then you have to be around that person.
Mm-hmm.
2, whenever the issue is addressed, hey, this isn't cool, having to be around that person. Sometimes they retaliate, other times, best case scenarios, which very rarely happen, the other person gets the message and they're cool.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I think is really important is advice for other people that do experience a situation is how to address it.
Mm-hmm.
The first time that the incident occurs, someone says something that makes you feel uncomfortable and is unwelcome, you have to stop it right then and there.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let it slide, because then they'll just keep on doing it. It's leaving a door open for them.
Yeah, you can at least give them fair warning. Hey, I'm not interested in you. Hey, please stop. Or, something simple, letting them know that, hey,
Yeah.
there's my answer. Now accept it and go on. But,
Yeah. And I think it's important to be firm about it and not be the nice person or nice girl or guy in the situation. And anytime that happens, document. And I'm not sure what the procedure is in a case with sexual harassment, but the first time an incident occurs, you tell the person. To me, I feel like that's a warning.
mm-hmm.
Second time it happens, and I always keep good records, take it up to your human resources manager, or if it's a human resources manager or your boss, then take it up to the next level, whether it's an owner, and then go from there.
Yeah, and at the same time, if you feel that your bosses, owner, or anybody is not going to do anything or will not do anything, go above them, which is getting a lawyer.
Yeah. Not only an attorney, but you can go to your state's Department of Labor and file a suit. And depending on what state you live in, you don't have to necessarily have an attorney to file the suit. There's also the Equal Employment Opportunity Center that you can file a suit, or charge, I should say. And it varies from state to state, but I believe it's 180 days for most states to file a charge. But those are the actions that can be taken.
Yeah. And at the same time, I wouldn't worry about your job because under federal law, if I'm not mistaken, they're not allowed to fire you because you've pressed charges against them, for something that, you felt that you had to do.
Yeah. And also, don't quit your job. Because harassment, and we should have looked this up beforehand, I should have wrote it down. Sexual harassment is defined where the victim feels uncomfortable in their job and feels like they have to leave. Don't quit. If you feel like your safety is being threatened, I would seek legal counsel.
Yeah, take the necessary actions, precautions, things like that. Save yourself.
Yeah.
Basically, so. So what are types of sexual harassment that people might be confused about?
Well, obviously, there's jokes in the workplace, and we've all heard them. And sometimes, it's like, dude, I want to hear that. And then there's, sexually explicit pictures or images. And there's the fine line. And I think that whenever you feel like you're uncomfortable with it, something needs to be said. Because obviously those things, some people, and it varies from person to person, really. Because some things, for me personally, as long as it's not directed at me, I'm cool with it. Of course, I don't want to see naked pictures of women or dudes, while I'm working, because I'm there to work. I've got a job to do. Really, I don't know, it really varies. And then there's compliments. If a coworker tells me that I look nice today or I look pretty, that's cool. I'm okay with that. But whenever it's like, hey, you have a nice ass, or I like that panty line you got going on, or the staring. There's been other women that I've worked with where, I don't know if you've noticed, but clothing these days for women, they're low cut, and that's all there is.
Yeah.
So there's some women that are, big chested, and that's all there is, and they're not purposely trying to flaunt themselves in any, manner, but the unwelcome stares, I've seen where we've had customers at various jobs just stare and zone in on a coworker's cleavage, and she's like, that makes me feel really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Which just made me think of something else. If a customer is doing the sexual harassment, check with your company to find out what to do in a situation, what the policy is, and regarding the handling sexual harassment with customers. Because no woman or man should have to go through that.
9 times out of 10, a company may actually say something if they themselves see cleavage and it's just there, and they're like, okay, well, you cover her up, maybe that wouldn't happen.
Yeah, but there's some things that are really minor, or not out there in your face, you know what I mean? And it's There again, there's a fine line. Personally, for me, it's whenever something's directed at me, like a comment that's very vulgar, like, hey, you got a nice ass, or, you know, I like whatever sexual detail. I'm like, no, that's not cool. And again, it just varies from person to person. If it makes you feel uncomfortable, you gotta speak up.
Yeah. Don't let it go on. I mean, there's no point in letting, whether it's a temp job, a part-time job, full-time job, seasonal, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing. So, and as far as lawyers go, I mean, there's plenty of lawyers out there that'll do free consultations. So it's not like you have to worry about getting money out of pocket. You can always go to just any random lawyer, set up an appointment, talk to them about it, you know, and go from there.
Yeah. And make sure that in this type of situation that you're looking for you're going to want to look for someone that deals with employment law. Is there anything specific that you know to look at for lawyers, or what to look for?
Just like you said, basically look for any lawyer that deals with employment. Most of them will sit there and say, well, sexual harassment in the workplace. Well, I wouldn't really jump on that unless they've dealt with something else that involves with the work, employment, like, or if they've done lawsuits with, various companies, or basically they just have experience with workman's comp, something like that, because you at least know that they deal with jobs, employment, laws, that type of information, so they know their boundaries, they know what to do, they know what they can basically get accomplished, or they can tell you at least a better answer than just going to some guy that does sexual harassment and they have no idea what they're doing. It's just criminal law or something like that. It's just an extra word they say, and
yeah.
then you're like, okay, well, yeah, and avoid the guys that sit there and say, okay, it costs $500 to represent you in court. That's just some guy who's broke and ready to jump in there and win and lose. So don't seek a lawsuit unless you really have to. Don't seek getting somebody fired unless it's becoming an ongoing problem and they don't want to do anything.
Yeah, and I agree with you there. One, in anything, I think things should be handled diplomatically, and if it can be resolved and stopped at that point in time, great. But if it continues on, then you gotta push. That's all I got.
Okay, sounds good. Well, we kept it short and sweet like most of our people requested, so anyways, hopefully you're taking our advice. Sexual harassment, just don't be afraid to say nothing. Say something, even if you're telling your supervisor, at least they can go and talk, try to diffuse it. If it doesn't get diffused, keeps bothering you, tell them again. If it happens another time, or you feeling like super uncomfortable, go above and beyond. HR, owner, anybody in that league, and if the company itself is not going to do anything, seek seek a lawyer, attorney, go towards the state.
Maybe we should put some links on this video for the equal opportunity, employment,
labor,
and then the states. If you just Google your state's Department of Labor, you'll find information regarding sexual harassment and harassment in the workplace, and each state is different.
And there's a nifty website called lawyers.com, and that pulls up any and everything, and you can even search for lawyers in your own area, and it does do a lawyer specific. It doesn't say law firm, and well, it does say law firm, but it actually has the people that the actual attorneys that's in the law firms and what they specialize themselves, and it has reviews on them, so you know you can always see which lawyer is crappy and which one is good. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, well, I'm Brian, this is Kim, and thank you for watching Speaking Out, and we'll be back with another episode.